Hey everybody, welcome back to the Section 214 of BC Lions podcast. I'm your host, Ascent, and I'm here with my friends Hammer and JS, and we're going to be embarking on our second of three bonus episodes for this season.
Ooh,
Uh, and I guess the itinerary for today would be we'll talk a little bit about what happened earlier in the Week 16 game. So uh, that's yesterday with Saskatchewan, Calgary, and then Toronto, Hamilton, and then earlier today with Ottawa, Montreal, and then we'll do what we did in the first bonus episode. We'll do six more of the wheel questions. I call it
my favorite
the
thing.
wheel of questions. Yes, we've been looking forward to this all week. Um, I'm
Should be
excited
fun.
to hear you guys' answers and uh
Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, we'll be doing six of those. I mean, I've got 12 left on those. So that's a good even split for that. So with that, and then to end off, I'll be reading my recap of the unfortunate
oh,
Winnipeg
dude,
win versus the Edmonton Elks. Um,
the
yeah, there was a
Kansas City
lot that
Chiefs of the league.
Another
the Chiefs of the
frustrating
league.
game
Yeah,
for us Bomber haters.
it was well, yeah. Well, yeah, not just us bomber haters, but pretty much, bomber haters in Saskatchewan and being,
I
well,
just want to
yes.
say one comment is that while watching the NFL in previous weeks on Sundays, it's obviously awesome to have the NFL back, but the
Mhm.
CFL rules are just so much better than the NFL. Like I find it way more entertaining, and it just makes me say I love the CFL. But when bullshit like this happens, when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers win almost every week when we need them to lose, I hate the
Mhm.
CFL.
I know what you mean,
Yeah.
and I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
glad
it's
the
just
NFL
one
is
of
back though.
those, yeah, I know it's just one of those, just Winnipeg's just one of those teams where it feels like they're destined to go to five straight like a funnel, but I do hope that BC actually gets their head out of the behind and actually start to, be more clutch than them, but only time will
If they
tell.
don't turn it around soon, they're
Yeah.
gonna have to win the West Final in Winnipeg to make the Grey Cup, and we don't really
Yeah,
want that
I
if
mean,
they do.
Let's think of that.
yeah, the nice, well, yeah, I guess I'll say the nice thing about this weekend is that, well, I mean, Hamilton beating Toronto on a walk-off field goal on the road, that was huge for them, and they enjoyed the rest of this weekend, right? Because of all the other results, right? I mean, that means the East crossover is still alive, right?
hmm
Uh,
The East is hilariously competitive.
yeah,
The
uh,
balance of
um,
power is really starting to shift in this league, which
yeah, I
not a
mean,
bad
just
thing.
that Calgary losing to Saskatchewan, I mean, big time win. I mean, that's a huge loss for Calgary. I'm not sure if they're eliminated from the playoffs yet, but they must be very close, right? But
Yeah,
I was
with Jake
hoping
Mayer.
Saskatchewan would lose again, right? But I mean, can't they had to win this one because they were struggling a lot, right? They hadn't won since July, late July. um,
Wow.
yeah. You were saying about Jake Mayo?
Well, I was just saying with Jake Mayer as their quarterback, they're already eliminated. And did he play this game?
He did, yes.
Okay.
They did, yeah, and they
Actually did put up some points.
only a narrow loss to Saskatchewan. No, all the games were relatively close this weekend. The road team won all of them, which was
Oh, true.
another rarity.
Trevor Harris is
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Oh
Good.
no.
Dave Dickinson's
Podcast
Oh
legend.
Dave Dickinson has
no.
really fallen off the rails.
Yeah.
Oh,
Disappointing.
yeah,
I've
he did.
never been a big fan of him. I don't know why. It's kind of I don't know. He just rubs me the wrong way. So
What's
I
your
kind of don't mind seeing him fail.
wait, are you talking about Chad Kelly or
No,
no?
Dave Dickinson, the
Oh,
coach
Dave
for
Dickinson,
Calgary.
yeah. Calgary, yeah. Well, I mean,
I like his
I
brother
like
a lot
I
more.
like watching him as a quarterback for the Lions when he won Grey Cups for us, right?
Sure,
But
yeah,
yeah,
but that
I
was a
was
long
old
time
enough
ago.
to yeah, I was old enough to remember that, over you two, right? It's just
I'm
um
old enough to have my dad tell me about him.
There you go.
yeah. Yeah, in fact, I think yeah, the 2000 and 2006 Grey Cups. I mean, both times BC was massive underdogs, and
hmm
they won against Montreal. So I mean, hey, maybe third times not it could happen. I mean,
It was
it'll be unheard of.
the year they lost it is the year they should have won it. I think it was 2004 through 2005. I would love a good underdog Grey Cup victory. I feel like things just don't go our way in the playoffs like they have in the 2010s. So we're due for it. I swear.
Would Yeah, we're due for one, right? I mean, and I mean, and speaking of Montreal, they also, I mean, I think they pretty much solidified themselves as number one in the East by beating Ottawa
Yeah.
pretty soundly. Oh, yeah, soundly in the first half, but I mean, it kind of slowed down in the second half. I remember watching most of, uh, actually, yeah, the whole second half and a little bit of the first half, but I do know that Masoli came in for Ottawa after Drew Brown got injured. But you know, I was reading in Sen scored, and they were watching the game too. I mean, they were saying that Brown was playing horribly in the first quarter. Right? I
Really.
mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, when you're down 20-6 in the first half, I mean, no, I I have no reason to question them. Yeah, that was. I mean, Ottawa's still, I'd say, still in a pretty solid position, right? I mean, no, lucky that Toronto lost, right? I
Did
mean, they
that
still
clinch
keep.
for Montreal?
I mean, well, no, they've already clinched the playoff spot, but as far as first in the West, I mean, not yet. But I think another uh win will do it. Uh,
Yeah, pretty easy for
Probably.
them. And the team they are. They don't have Tyson Philpott anymore. He's gone for the season, but they're still a very deep team on offense. So
Yeah,
should not be too hard for them.
yeah. I just find it funny how, well, I mean, the Sun squad users in particular, they're always beaking off about, oh, the Alouettes are super overrated, like Fajardo was super overrated. And I'm going, well, they keep beating you. I mean, I don't think that's overrated.
Nope, they
I
keep
mean,
showing up on the field and doing it. That's not
yeah,
overrated.
you're not going to hear us call Winnipeg overrated, right?
No.
Like they are properly rated.
Yeah. You're gonna see us hating them, but not calling them
Yes,
overrated.
we respect them, but
not
we hate them.
lying. Yeah, not lying about them, right? Like they're good, right? And they're
Oh,
scary.
they sure are, unfortunately.
And
Hate
we
to say
knew
it,
they
but
were
it's
coming.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'll talk about the yeah, I'll talk about the Winnipeg Edmonton game like in about probably 20 or 30 minutes. But yeah, we'll just get right on to our
The wheel of
the segment,
questions.
the
Let's
wheel
go.
of questions. Okay, here we
Yeah.
go. Number one. Let's give it a spin.
See how my questions up here. Go in alphabetical order.
Sure. Let's keep our answers nice and snappy so we entertain the audience.
Yes.
Okay, well, here's an easy question to answer. Favorite Lions win. Uh, I'll start this one out because I already had one in mind. It was I'd probably say it was probably be a tie between actually the 2016 semifinal against Winnipeg where they came back and won that at home, and of course the comeback against Ottawa last year when they were down big and they came back in the fourth quarter. And I I stuck around and watched that whole game too. Right, and that was yeah, both times it was just down to the wire. You know, last second lead changes for BC, and you know, those are the kind of ones that I get the most enjoyment out of. I mean, on a visceral level, right? Uh, blowouts are fine too. I mean, it's the stressless wins are great too, but I find the comeback wins are just
They're
that much
awesome.
more primo, right?
There you go. Good
Good
answer.
answer.
That's my two answers. Tie answers.
Um, for me, so 2011 Grey Cup, I would have been 5 years old. So we got to think of what my perspective is. So I think my favorite Lions win would be in 2022. We beat the Bombers probably the third last week of the season, and that effectively clinched a home playoff game for us.
Oh
I was
yes, I
sitting
remember that.
right in the middle of the stadium, and there were so many big moments. There was two TJ Lee interception touchdown returns. One of them with like 100 yards from one end of the field to the other, and
Yeah.
Winnipeg had already clinched the division. Like they were out of the water at that point, but they were resting Kolaros, and that was a big chance for us to clinch our home playoff game. And I know now we're aspiring for the division, but back then we just wanted to make the playoffs and have a home playoff game, and that
Mhm.
was so exciting. Like we all felt it.
That
It
was a
was
good
shaking.
one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And
I would agree with that too.
for me, There's so many great games, but I'll have to say pretty simply the 2011 Grey Cup, and the reason that is
Yes.
it's the only time one of my teams ever won a championship. So I'm gonna go with that.
So
Yeah,
far.
I probably
So
would have
far,
gone
good
with.
answer.
Yeah, I probably would have gone with the Grey Cups I was alive for too, but I think all of those Grey Cup wins didn't really involve comeback. I think the game was in the bag, but well, actually no, the 2006 Grey Cup was tight, but it didn't involve a comeback. I think the Lions just held on to lead for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And yeah,
They
but
just got
didn't
the job done in the end.
yeah,
Those are
got
fun
the
Grey
job
Cups.
done. They held on, right? Okay, well, yeah, I got a Grey Cup answer at least, and yeah, that's. I mean, I'm happy that we're
Yep.
all alive for at least one. Right?
There we
Hopefully,
go.
hopefully we'll have another one this year, but only time will tell. So let's go for number 2.
Also,
Just,
shout out to both home playoff games in the last 2 years because those were also amazing.
They sure were.
yes, yeah. Shout out to well, I mean, the semifinal that we attended last year with I believe we attended that with Simba too. That was
That was
against
so much
Calgary,
fun.
right? That
Yeah.
was yeah.
The year
Lot
before was also special. You weren't there, but that was our first home playoff game in so long. So that also hit very hard.
Sure did. All right, what's the
yeah,
next
Next
that's
question?
number
question.
2. Oh, this is a tough one. Favorite non-hockey, non-football moment. So that's the considering well, I'll start this one out. Considering I only really remember baseball well enough, I'll probably say that for me it was Delman Young's double in the 2014 ALDS.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baltimore Orioles versus the Detroit Tigers. Unfortunately, they couldn't replicate that today. The Tigers beat the Orioles today, but 10 years ago, that was when Baltimore had Manny Machado. Uh, they had really good team,
Chris
and just
Davis.
Chris Davis, and yeah, just all those guys that I remember. They were good for a brief moment of time in the mid 2010s, and yeah, that was yeah, seeing well, Baltimore come back from 6-2 in the 8th inning to win. I think that was I want to say that was game 2, and then they went on to sweep Detroit.
Against the Tigers? Oh yeah.
Yeah, they swept Detroit, and then yeah, but that when I replayed that on. I've replayed that Delman Young double a lot because of the crowd reaction. It gets me choked up every time I hear it. Like, and I'm home, and that and today. I mean, that game sweeping win versus the Tigers. That was the last time the Orioles won a playoff game, right? So
Damn.
I've been waiting a long time to see one. Hopefully this year, right? Okay. Favorite baseball moment for me.
Yeah, the call was electric on that, and I just want to say I know I'm an Oriole hater, but I hope you do get to share some playoff success this year because we all deserve that at some point.
I deserve it. Yeah.
For me, so you guys should know by now I'm a West Ham fan, and
Mhm.
for the majority of time I've supported them, they've been shit. Um, so 2022 they made a miracle run in the Europa League, which was just so special to me. Big goals in the round of 16, the quarterfinals. Um, but that's a moment that I'm sure majority of our viewers would not understand. So for a bit of a simpler answer, the Bautista bat flip in 2015. I remember that moment. I was 8 or 9 years old. I came home from school. My dad took the day off of work to watch the game, and I came home in the ninth inning with the bases loaded. Um, so the rest is history. Y'all know how that
Yeah.
went. So what a
There you
moment that
go.
was. And
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad that you didn't say the Encarnacion walk off, right? Because
oh yeah, that's true. I could have hit you there.
that was simultaneously one of Toronto's greatest moments and one of my worst. Right? I'm like, damn it! I thought I left losing heartbreaker to Toronto of Ottawa. Why? Like,
Yep. I'll
Yeah, I'm
be
glad
a
you
bit
kind
more
of,
respectful to you on this podcast, but
yeah.
I think in terms of big moments in the 2000s for the Blue Jays, Bautista bat flip's got to be number one. So,
There you go.
Jacob.
Yeah. For me, it would be back in 2019. I kind of got on the Raptors bandwagon when they went on that run to the championship.
Mhm.
So it would be the Kawhi Leonard buzzer beater in Game 7 of Round 2
Oh,
against the 76ers. That was crazy. The first buzzer beater in a Game 7 ever. Crazy. I remember screaming when they got it.
wow.
I saw that happen too, and again, even as a Raptors hater myself, because I'm still kind of a casual Grizzlies fan. Like I took my Vancouver Grizzlies fandom to Memphis, right? So I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
still
there you
a
go.
Grizzlies fan, but I still had a lot of respect for that game winner. Like I couldn't really be mad at it. I was mad because like I'm like, oh no, they're gonna win the championship. Oh, they right.
No,
That
yeah,
Kawhi
no.
Leonard moment might be one of the most hype moments in NBA history, and I think
Oh,
it
I'm
is.
sure it is. And
That
one of them for sure.
just
Top
Yeah,
insane.
top
they
5 easily
yeah, they had true lightning in a bottle
in that year.
season,
That
right?
was, and most of that playoff run I was in China, so I missed a lot of it. But I came
Oh,
back a day before the final game, and I got to watch them win on not on Chinese television, but on Canadian television. So that was nice.
that's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
All
unfortunately,
right.
that I mean, from our lost crew member Simba, he was also a Golden State Warriors fan, but he'd probably disagree with that. But
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
uh,
All right, what's the next one?
okay, let me
Good answers,
find.
guys.
Okay, let me find that. Okay, I'll do a third spin. I gave it like 10 seconds of a spin just to make it really recognized.
Really dramatic.
Oh, uh, oh, it's Lindino just went on most hated sports teams and sports you follow.
In sports you follow.
Most
Wow.
hated.
Most
Most
boy.
hated
hated.
sports team.
I think,
Uh,
given how the game went today, I'm just gonna have to blurt it out. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Can't
If anyone
yeah.
disagrees, raise your hand now.
Nope.
disagree with that.
Okay.
Shout out to the Edmonton Oilers. McDavid and Draisaitl were at the game today. So the only pleasure I found today with the Elks losing is that they were there, and I hate the
They were,
Oilers.
yeah, they
There you
witnessed
go.
it. Yeah, they witnessed an Edmonton team losing again, which is great.
I would have much
Right?
rather had the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lose.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess well, in the sports I follow, I mean, I guess I'll have to go from favorite to one I least follow. So I mean, in hockey, I mean, my top 3 hated teams in hockey would be Leafs, Penguins, and then Habs. Right? Uh,
That's a good
and
choices too.
yeah, NFL football. I mean, I'll go with the Chiefs are number 2. The Chiefs are number 2, but I still at number 1. I despise the Vikings. Right? Uh, I'm so happy to. Oh, actually, no. Actually, no. No. Number 1 is the Cowboys. 2 is the Chiefs. 3 is the Vikings. Okay, 1 the Cowboys because well, of course I'm also an Eagles fan. So I mean, yeah, I gotta come through the territory, right? And I'm happy the Packers are able to dominate them in the playoffs, right? So that's
Let's feel good.
America's.
America's
And I
team.
guess yeah, baseball. My number 1 would probably if you would ask me 2 years ago, it still probably would have been the Blue Jay, the number 1. But
Thanks.
I've been I the Yankees are back on top. I mean, I do feel like Baltimore and New York are due for another playoff series, and I am dreading the possibility of having Judge or Soto walk off the Orioles. Right?
Yankees are a very good choice for most hated team in any scenario.
Yeah. And I guess 2 and 3. 2 would be well, it's yeah, it'd still be the Blue Jays, and then number 3 would be probably well. Actually, number 3 would be surprising. It'd be the Athletics, right? Because I don't like how Mike Fisher
Oh,
handled the team,
oh, fair enough.
right?
I hate him too.
I just
Like
hate
the
him
A's,
based
but I
on
hate Fisher.
ownership. Yeah, just what they did to like they broke my dad's heart again, right? Yeah,
Mine
and
too.
then
All right.
you guys,
Next question.
all right?
What do we got?
Let me
I'll just run through
Question number
mine
4.
super quickly. Most hated hockey teams: Oilers and Dallas Stars, because I don't like their players and Jamie Benn.
There you go. Good answer.
Yep.
Oh, this is a non-sports one.
All right.
Best thing. Okay. Well, best thing about where you live.
Oh,
I guess we're going alphabetical. So I guess Port Moody would be first, and then Vancouver, and then Victoria. So it works out. I guess the best thing about Port Moody for me, I guess it would. I mean, it's the calmness, right? It's kind of like it's a city that it's not it's not too exciting. It's not like Whistler where you have exciting ski stuff happening all the time. But no, well, Moody's a Hill City. I mean, it's got breweries, on the road. It's got got a bit of a small town feel for a city, and I mean that's what I like about it. And yeah, it's and
yeah,
also
good.
and also Pajos and Rocky Point Park is pretty good too. The fish and chips.
That's a good one. I love it.
Yeah.
Their fish and chips are very good.
And they have Ken Johnson.
Mhm.
True.
And Ken Johnson comes from there too. Yeah, my bandwagon hockey player for the Blue Jackets.
For me, we good here?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vancouver should be easy because it's
Oh, Vancouver. Fun fact, I'm a geography major and I like urban design as well. So I'm doing urban design classes. Um, I love everything about Vancouver. The transportation is so good here. I just went to UBC today by public transit. The walking trails like around downtown, like Yaletown is so nice. The bike trails I like a lot here. Um, the amount of green space, there's so much to love here. I don't know where to start. Like I could say so many things. I'm just going all around here. The SkyTrain. Who doesn't love the SkyTrain? The Canucks,
yeah.
the BC Lions, they're all based in Vancouver. Um, I have some pictures right next to me, pictures of the Granville Island Public Market, the
Yeah.
Vancouver Library. There's just so many amazing landmarks here. It's such a great place to live. I'm sure
Gastown
players
Park
love it
as
here.
well.
And for me, Victoria, well, the fact that everything is a little bit slower there, people drive slower, there's less going on, and the fact that it almost never rains is really nice.
Oh,
Yes. My dad told me about when while we were there at Touchdown Pacific that it doesn't really rain all that much there compared to here because it's it's not close to the mountains, so it's a bit drier there. But yeah,
It's
I would
pretty
agree
nice.
with that. I would agree with that. As a wheelchair user, I don't like the rain either. I mean, I gotta get used to it, but I mean, I can't go for my walks in the rain. So
no,
uh
slippery.
All right.
okay, let me
Next up, drum roll, please.
okay, this is number 5. I mean, I'm
Two
glad we
more.
got to.
We got some good ones so far.
We have.
I'm surprised we don't have a Canucks thing yet, but it's probably going to change pretty quick.
We did
Nope.
do one last episode. What's up?
Yeah, we did a few last episode, but okay, this one, worst Lions loss. There's a ton of them. I'll start with what I think is probably the worst Lions loss I've experienced. It was well, getting destroyed in the Eastern crossover against Montreal 10 years ago, where Montreal put up like 50 plus points on them. I mean, all those blowout losses were pretty bad. Uh, I guess I'll actually, you know what? I'll also put this in last year's Western Conference Final. That was when Gordon Adams like really came over, and we thought that he would be the one to get us over the hump in Winnipeg, but Winnipeg just does Winnipeg things and just and now we're at risk of, if we're going to be facing them again in a Western Conference Final, likely it'll be like an Oilers King situation where it's just how can we beat
Yeah,
this team, right?
that would be insane.
Yeah, I'll say it's a tie between last year's Western Conference Final and losing really badly to a post Calvillo Alouettes in the Eastern crossover. That was even worse. Yeah.
Worst Lions loss. I mean, I thought it would be pretty obvious, but we kind of have another contender last week. So for two different categories, last week the game against Toronto was the worst performance I have ever seen in person, ever. That was
Wait,
awful.
what about that shutout loss to Winnipeg? Just that
Oh
I'd
my
say
God, that
I
was
think that's the worst.
that might have also been the worst. I was in person to the Toronto game, so that was just
Okay.
worse mentally. Um, that oh God, that Winnipeg loss a couple weeks ago was just so damaging. Um, but last year we're never gonna forget that game. That the game for all the marbles, the game we lost to Winnipeg in overtime for
Yeah,
the division.
Rhymes
Rhymes.
couldn't
I'm not gonna talk about it.
yeah, Rhymes couldn't stop before, like couldn't stop and give us the field goal opportunity to win, and
Yeah,
just yeah, with
I'm not gonna talk about it. I think we all know what happened. So I was up till 3 in the morning because I was so mad.
Don't blame you.
Yeah,
there are certain losses that keep us up at night often, right?
yeah.
And that's uh JS, you got a few
I would say probably the 2018 Eastern semifinal with the Lions win in Hamilton. They lost like 56-2 or
that
something,
was
and
a bad one too.
that was
Yeah,
Wally Buono's final game as head coach. Just a complete total embarrassment, and honestly, such a shame for a legendary coach like that to go out like that. It was crushing.
yeah.
Like I never
The
expected they would win that game, but at least put up a fight. And they,
yeah,
well,
that
they didn't do that.
yeah, again, I mean, I said this a couple times before in the season where anytime BC is in a West crossover, I'm just not expecting them to win the first game, right? Because the closest a Western crossover team got was Edmonton back in 2018, and they lost to Ottawa, right? That was the closest they've been to East champions as a West team, right? Uh, but yeah, that's yeah, just quite a few of those crossover games. It just it feels like the game is over by the first quarter, right? Okay, and then I'm surprised we're not getting the question that I well,
I
last chance for
know.
today. Last chance for today. Let's see what we got. Might be a good omen for next week, hopefully. No.
Okay, drum roll.
Okay. No. It's
No.
another non-sports question, but it's favorite place in British Columbia. I'd say that we visited.
Ooh.
I'll go with. I mean, this is an easy one for me because I've been to this town many times in the past, and my godparents also lived there. It's the town of Osoyoos.
Oh,
I
that's a
think it's
nice place. They're very hot.
yeah, Osoyoos. I can never figure out how to pronounce that. I go with Osoyoos.
I
But
think
yeah,
Osoyoos, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I'll be wrong. I mean, I'll probably correct myself next time, but just yeah, Osoyoos is yeah, a place that I remember fondly doing the 4.5 hour drive every time in the summer just to visit my godparents, right? And it's always 30+ degrees whenever I go there. And I do also was also I was also in Osoyoos the last time well, I was in Osoyoos the last time Ottawa and Vancouver were in the playoff at the same time. Right.
No
So
way.
yeah, that was
Nice. Oh, that's funny.
2015. Yeah, it's funny because I watched Ottawa beat Montreal in game. I think it was game 5. They beat them pretty handily, and then the game after was Calgary versus Vancouver, and then obviously
Oh, that happened.
that
Yeah.
was the elimination game. That was Calgary beating them 7 to I think it was 7-4. Right, that was a crazy game, and I think Gaudreau, rest in peace, Johnny. I
Yeah.
think
Rest in peace,
Gaudreau
Johnny.
had a lot of points in that game too. And it was just yeah, I went from elation from Ottawa surviving for another day to Vancouver losing to Calgary. Uh,
It was
but yeah,
not a pleasant
anyways, yeah.
playoff series.
But yeah,
Oh, indeed.
Soyuz, I had a lot of memories there, good and one bad, but
Yeah. Gotta love the BC countryside.
mhm.
Absolutely.
My turn. So this is a cool question for me because I'm in a college class called Geography of British Columbia. So I've been learning a lot about BC in the past 3 weeks. And a couple
Yeah.
hours ago, I drew a map of British Columbia.
Oh, there you go. I love that.
But as much as I've learned about BC and as many of the places I've been, my favorite place in BC is Vancouver. I don't think it gets any better than this. Um, just all the cool things you can see downtown. I mean, I said it in the last question. So to specify, my favorite places in British Columbia are BC Place, Rogers Arena, and Royal Athletic Park. See you
Good
next year.
answer.
Yeah, why off the Park is a new one for me too. Yeah, that was yeah. Yeah, if it wasn't Astoyas, I'd probably say it'd be Victoria as well. With
Yeah,
you know,
I love Victoria.
yeah, took a lot of pictures of Parliament too, right? So it was majestic. It felt like I was transported to the 18th century, or no, the 19th century or something, right? Seeing that building, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And for me, I will probably go with probably Victoria as well, just because I spent a lot of time there. It's a really beautiful place. It's quiet. The scenery is amazing. A lot of really good local hole in the wall restaurants here compared to Vancouver. There's a lot more big chains.
Oh yeah,
And yeah, that's all I have.
I love
I'd
how
Yeah,
echo,
local the
echo everything that
downtown
you
core
said.
feels.
Yeah, I'm also curious, how far north have you guys been in the province? Because the farthest north I've been was Lillooet, actually, because you know, I came from Whistler, I went north to Lillooet, and that's to date the farthest north I've been in, just a quaint
Oh
little
boy,
village, and
Would
that's a bad
be
question because I've not really been that far north.
would be like Revelstoke, Golden for me, because I took Highway 1, I think, across to Alberta once. If you're counting a plane, northest I've been is up by Haida Gwaii because I took a flight when I went to China. The flight
yeah,
to China goes northwest over Alaska and stuff to get there because
okay.
we're
So
globe.
you were in
Like,
Haida Gwaii airspace then?
yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna say Haida Gwaii.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
and one day I do want to visit because my dad was born and raised in Kitimat too. So one day I want to visit where he was born too, right? Just so I can put that on my bucket list as well.
Absolutely.
I hear lots of good things about Haida Gwaii about my uncle who goes fishing there. Um, so I've been to three north-ish, not north at all places because I've been learning in my course. BC is huge, and I've probably only traveled up like less than 10% of the province. Um, so the more northernmost places have been Whistler and Campbell River on the island. Kelowna is a little bit south than the two of them, but not by much. Um, so I've really not gone that far in the province. Campbell River is only like halfway up the island, and there's still so much to see. Like the province is huge.
Yeah,
Sure is.
yeah. I mean, it's really the size of BC. You can fit 7 or 8 states in the Midwest, right?
Yes,
It's crazy, like
maybe even
like
Europe.
maybe yeah, maybe even a lot of European countries, right? Like you know, when you're driving through Europe, I mean, it takes 4 hours to go through either most of the country or like Germany or Spain or something like that. Before 4 hours, it's just halfway through the province,
Oh yeah,
right?
it takes 4 hours to get to Kelowna, and you probably only gone up like less than 10% of how north BC is. So it's just crazy.
There you go.
Yeah. Um. Um. Anyways, yeah.
Good
Yeah.
questions.
That
Yeah.
was
We didn't
fun.
get. Yeah, we didn't get to the question I was hoping we would get, but that's definitely gonna happen in our last bi-week
Guarantee.
episode. But yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll have some more time to think on our questions, right? Because I already have mine prepared, but yeah, uh, it'll give you guys a little more time to think about it if you if you can. But a little homework. Uh, sorry to. um. So yeah, I guess. Well, I'll just finish it off with well recapping the Winnipeg and the Bombers and Elks game that just ended a few minutes. Well, yeah, half an hour
About an hour
ago.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, about an hour ago, and yeah, then we'll talk a little bit about yeah, what we'll talk more about the Hamilton game coming up because now that Hamilton won their game, I mean the stakes have increased significantly for both teams, right? But I mean, anyways, well, speaking of stakes, I mean the stakes for this game was pretty big too. I mean, like a win for Edmonton would have got them within they would have been at 6 wins. And it would have been one within BC, right? So, you know, for our perspective, I mean, I would say that I mean, Winnipeg beating Edmonton is good for playoff chances, but in terms of us wanting to host a Western Conference final, it's I think that's true and dead pretty much.
It sucks.
Yeah,
I hate it.
yeah. So Trey Ford, I mean, he did get a start for this game, right? I mean, he came in for uh the first half of this game. I mean, later on he did get pulled out. I don't think he had an injury. I think it was just eventually, I mean, his poor play kind of angered Jarius Jackson. But yeah, this was that, and this was an interesting game too, because Tyrell Ford, which is Trey Ford's brother, he's a defensive I think he's a corner on the Bombers, right? So it's basically a brother v brother matchup today too. I know that's always fun to do. I know the broadcast definitely talked about that a little bit, right? They talked about the brotherly rivalry a bit, but I it didn't really amount to anything in the game. Like, I mean, like Tyrell didn't do any interceptions, but yeah, anyways, so yeah, Trey got the start for the Elks, and then Whitehead receives the Bombers kickoff at 32. Lawler made an incredible diving catch to convert immediately at the 48. Like, that was a real tone setter there. And but I mean, outside of that incredible catch on that opening drive, Winnipeg was stopped, and then because of an incompletion, and Castillo kicked a 49-yard field goal to take the lead 3-0. But Castillo had a bit of a real shaky game. I mean, it didn't cost the team in the end, right? But I mean, it could against a better team, it might have cost them, right? And I'll get to that in a bit.
Ooh, tell me about it.
Yeah, on Edmonton's opening drive, they actually on third and short, Prukop kind of it looked like he was stopped a bit short, but the edge of the ball barely crossed over the marker, right? They were getting the measuring sticks out, and with extremely thin margin, and it was the first down, right? That was I kind of held my breath there. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna get it. Okay, thank goodness. Yeah, but I mean, it felt like, and then a little later on after that, it felt like the football gods were kind of like, okay, we got to rectify that luck immediately. As I said, Ford fumbled the ball on a ball down line moment on second down on a quarterback draw. Right? So it's just, good luck comes that way, and then bad luck eventually bites them again, right? And then yeah, Winnipeg does take advantage of. Well, I mean, for the moment they took advantage of it. I mean, they got a couple of conversions with passing, right, long passes, but but Castillo had his first doink miss, first of two. So he doinked a 53-yard field goal attempt on the lower right side of the goalpost, right? And that was no, I was popping my fist going, yes, Edmonton can do something with this, right? No, they don't. They go 2 and out. And I after after Edmonton went 2 and out, I did go on a bit of a dinner break. In between, well, the game in between my dinner break, there were plenty of interceptions. There was a turnover on downs. There was yeah, I said I witnessed 3 turnovers. So I mean, I kind of just it was really sloppy play by both teams in the first half of this game. But um when did you guys get into watching the game? Was it
Basically watched just the fourth quarter pretty much.
I watched the third quarter and the fourth quarter. So, but when Edmonton started coming back, and then we all know what happened later.
yeah, but yeah, I'll just keep it going if you so yeah, and
All that stuff
yeah,
in later.
Yeah, after my dinner was done, it was 8 minutes and 30 to go in the quarter, and it was still like 3-0 Winnipeg. It was a very, despite Edmonton's turnover issues, I mean, their defense was holding Winnipeg pretty well. And I mean, I I just think they kind of got exhausted near the end, but I mean, it was just they were holding pretty steady. I mean, it was just constantly there was a lot of punts and Ford on one of Edmonton's drives, Ford almost fumbled on a snap, but his throat threw it away to make it incomplete. And I also saw something that I don't think I've ever seen before, where you can call a timeout when the 3-minute warning is coming up, but you know, after the timeout, then you do the play, and then the 3-minute warning happens. Right? I've never seen that happen. Right?
I never seen that either. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of a quirk about the CFL too. Yeah, you could take a timeout when a 3-minute warning play happens, because obviously the clock has to roll past 3 minutes, right? Like when a play is going on, right? It doesn't stop on 3 minutes, right? Doesn't do that. Not like the NFL with their 2-minute warnings, right? Yeah, I just thought that was an interesting thing to see. But uh, but yeah, Edmonton does fumble the ball on a punch out for Edmonton's fourth turnover of the game. The Winnipeg 34, but thankfully Winnipeg couldn't go any further on a second down to force them to punt to the 18. And then near the end of the second quarter, I saw when they were talking about McDavid and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl were attending the game, and I was booing at the TV screen. Right?
I would have done that too.
Boo!
Crushed our dreams.
It crushed our, many dreams, not just our dreams, Calgary dreams too. Right? I booed Connor and Leon, but Cobb does convert for 19 on Edmonton's offense, but they're forced to punt, and then really, well, they were forced to punt, but it was 7 seconds left, so I mean, they punted, and then they pretty much ended the half right there. I called it a defensive battle, but after the second quarter and the third quarter, that's when the offense started to open up again. Really, by open up, I mean just back and forth things, right? Like Winnipeg received the kickoff again. Well, yeah, they received the kickoff, but on the opening drive of the third quarter, they did go down to the end zone to like Caleros threw it to Ontario Wilson, who did like a hard. He ran really hard all the way to the end zone stripe to have them extend it to. I said a seemingly commanding 10-0 lead, right?
And then I started watching.
Yeah, because it was at that point where I mean both defenses were playing well, and I thought, well, 10-0 might be enough to win, right? But Edmonton does make a decent comeback effort here, and this was after well, this was after well, the Elks punt. Well, actually, no, this was after yeah. Well, yeah, it was 10-0, and then Edmonton got the ball down the field, and then they did a flea flicker on 2nd and inches to Gino Lewis to walk into the end zone to shorten the lead to 10-7. And
What a
then,
catch and play that was.
Yeah,
I saw that too. That was incredible.
yeah, I never, yeah, I mean, usually doing a flea flicker on 2nd and inches is kind of a weird kind of time to do it, but it worked. So, yeah, after that, there was an ejection after because there was the kickoff, and then during the commercial break, there was an ejection for the Edmonton player on special teams. Right, it was they were punching each other in the face. Right, it was like welcome sock'em.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was funny. That was it felt kind of weak because it felt like it was like a light punch, right? It wasn't just a straight up jab, right? Like a violent punch. Yeah. Anyways, well, yeah. Winnipeg's offense gets the ball down to the 40, to Edmonton's 47, and then Castillo tries another field goal attempt, which doinks up the same place as he did before. That's two dead ball misses, and we're thinking, okay, this is the ball game now. Edmonton should be able to come back. in this one, and then they do eventually tie it up on a field goal by Beatty. So that's kind of like like oh look, our field goal kicker is better than yours, right? Just we can't doink. Yeah, that's what happened at well, actually before that field goal, Rankin did go over 100 yards rushing. He actually had an amazing running game. I mean, it was kind of it was a wasted effort, like 150 plus yards rushing, right? But yeah, you ripped off a 53-yard run to get them in the field goal range for that tying field goal. So yeah. And then fourth quarter, this when all of us were our eyes were like locked onto this game. All of us were locked on this game, right? It was
We
um
thought Edmonton had a chance.
But boy, were we wrong.
we were wrong. I mean, first of all, Winnipeg almost was going to take the lead on a field goal, but thankfully Moncrief timed up a perfect sack. I called it a Betts-esque sack, right? Because the Moncrief kind of just saw what kind of saw through the fake out and managed to sack Caleros instantly. That put him out of field goal range, and that was great. That was real
Yeah.
stoked about that. And then but unfortunately on Edmonton's ensuing drive, I mean, there was well, Rankin once again whipped a pretty big run on first down for 35, but then immediately after that, Ford throws a bad interception. Oh, I mean, Ayers was right in the middle of the passing lane. He managed to intercept Ford again, and that was
horrible.
I think that was the backbreaker there. That was their fifth turnover of the game.
It was a
And
real bad interception.
yeah, and then
It's terrible.
yeah, and then just why when I thought the Winnipeg BF had to stop here, right? Then Oliveira not only gets his first touchdown of the season, but on that touchdown run, that was when he got 1,000 yards in the season, right? So he's got first touchdown of the season, and he got over 1,000 yards on one play. So I'm like,
That's fucked. Yeah.
I am I'm happy that this didn't happen to BC. Can you imagine if I would have been even more livid, but I'm like, okay, I'm glad it's happening to someone else, not us. Right? He's owned us for years, well, 2 years really, but yeah. So that was the touchdown. Made them have the lead 7-10. I thought, okay, that's probably going to be game if Edmonton doesn't score here. It was at this point that Bethel Thompson did come into the game because I think that was because Ford was having turnover issues that Joey Jackson just wanted to try something else. It kind of reminded me of during the Argos Lions game yet last week when Rick Campbell put Adams in to try and change things up, right? But again, it doesn't work here.
Didn't work for either coach.
It doesn't work for either coach, right? It was just it was just a 2 and out, and then Winnipeg has a long drive. I mean, they had a penalty aided drive too on unnecessary roughness. They got it to the 3-minute warning, and then Castillo redeemed himself by nailing a dagger field goal to go up 20-10. And that's when I stopped taking. I mean, the final score ended up being 27-14, but that was just that's probably just garbage time points. Right? It was
Yeah. You could tell we were tuned out in the end.
yeah,
I don't want to speak about the ending really. I mean, there's not stuff happened, but it wasn't really necessary to be added on here.
Yeah, I was just
There was so
frustrated
much
to watch.
time stretching, and it dragged on. So
Yeah, that's just
that was the end of it.
frustrating,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It's frustrating to watch. Again, as Bombers haters, we want them to lose out the season, but I don't think they are. I think they're gonna, at minimum, I think they'll lose at least one game because the rest of the schedule, I think it's pretty easy for them, right? Other than the
CFL
Montreal
hurts.
game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. Winnipeg goes up to 8-6 on the season, and then Edmonton fell to 5-9. And like I said, it kept the Eastern crossover alive for another weekend, right? So, so this Hamilton BC game that's going to be coming up on Friday, it's big for both teams, right? because I do think that if BC wins that one, I think it's gonna get it's why we're gonna clinch a playoff spot, or we got to be like very close if we win. Like I'm talking
Yes.
99%, right? Uh
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I mean, uh, I'm glad Hamilton won that game yesterday because it'll make for a playoff type game for BC. Like BC needs to be getting used to these kind of situations now where they're facing either desperate teams or just, really good teams now. I do know we're going to be on the road for Saskatchewan too. So that's like a hostile environment. They have to be prepared for that too if they're not going to be able to host a playoff game, right? But it's really everything's up in the air in the West for the most part. I don't think Winnipeg's going to relinquish first in the West. I
No,
think
I don't
you
think so
you
either.
two
It's
can
pretty
agree
all
with
wrapped
me.
up.
Yep.
They're a
Yep.
full one
I agree.
game ahead of the Lions, and they have the tiebreaker. So the Lions are effectively a game and a half out of first place with 4 games to go. You're not making that up the way Winnipeg's playing.
Stings.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, with our bye week coming on the last week of the season, like we have BC basically have to win out and then hope Winnipeg loses at
2
least
games.
2 games, right? Yeah.
Winnipeg has to go like they've won however many 6 in a row, and they have to lose 2 of their final 4 for the Lions to even have a chance. So not happening.
At the rate they're playing, no, not happening.
Yeah. So West Final and Winnipeg it is.
Well, yeah, but right now I think BC's focus should be on keeping home field advantage for the semifinal.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
last
That's
year,
that's no guarantee.
right?
Just making it, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if they have to win 2 road games to make the Grey Cup, I'd be very less confident. If they only have to win 1, I'd have more confidence. But you know what? That's why we play the games, We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, the 2006 Grey Cups, they were won by BC being underdogs the whole way through, and they were road teams, and they were winning from the semifinal onwards, right? So, I mean, it's nothing new for me to see the team be like that, right? But yeah, again, ideally, I do want them to see them host another semifinal. I mean, I can see them beating either Saskatchewan or uh well, Hamilton or
Oh boy,
Edmonton.
could happen.
Right?
I don't want to play Edmonton personally, but
No,
they show their weaknesses and strengths today, so they're a lot like the
They sure
Lions.
did. So the
yeah,
mediocre
the
team
West
like
is
most of the league.
the West is just completely mostly mostly like really up in the air. I don't know what to expect, right?
Well, we'll
There's
see what
no
happens.
yeah. Well, I guess yeah, we're gonna be preparing for that game for Friday. I mean, here's well, the preseason for hockey will be and will be in full swing by then. But I thought I'd be taking the opportunity to be wearing hockey stuff today because I know by the time we get into our next bonus episode, it'll be hockey season and everything
excited.
season, right?
Might be
The
some
best month in
Canucks to talk
sports.
about.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
October, the best month in sports, as my dad would say.
And
Yeah.
he's right.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Outro.
That's
outro, and JS, you want to do the socials?
let's
Like
do
usual.
it. So our email is sectiontwofourteen@gmail.com. Our Instagram and Twitter is at section214pod, and YouTube we are at section 214 BC Lions podcast. And yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's okay, let me just get back. Okay. Well, yeah, that's gonna be it for us for today. So let's hope that next week will bring better tidings for us in terms of a victory for once and
And out of town results too.
and out of town
Agreed.
results too. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be it for us today. So yeah, we'll see you on probably Saturday. Next
See
Saturday.
you guys next
All right.
time.
Bye.
See ya.